Hello, and welcome to this Pick a Card reading. I'm Natalie, and this is Sacred in Bloom. I'm a transformational coach who helps women navigate midlife with more clarity, confidence, and ease. I've been reading tarot and oracle cards for over 30 years, and I love using them as a tool for insight, self reflection, and deep inner healing. Today, we're going to do a pick a card reading to help you tap into your intuition and receive guidance from your higher self, spirit guides, whatever feels comfortable and in alignment with your beliefs. If you're new to these type of readings, think of this as a moment to slow down, check in with yourself, and receive the insight you may need most right now. My work focuses on helping women reconnect with their inner wisdom, whether that's through nervous system healing, somatic practices, or intuitive tools. Intuition is a skill we all have, and these readings can be a powerful way to start to strengthen that connection. In a moment, I'm going to show you 3 different card piles. I want you to take a deep breath, tune into your body, and notice which one you feel most drawn to. There's no right or wrong choice. Just trust that whatever you pick is the message you're meant to receive. If this resonates with you, be sure to like and subscribe for more guidance on self-trust, emotional healing, and reconnecting with your power. Now, let's get into this reading. So here is pile number 1. Here is pile number 2. And here is pile number 3. I did have to put a little bit of washi tape over so that she is modest. There is pile number 3. Okay, pile number 1, welcome. I have your pile of some cards, some oracle cards that I have pre-selected for you. I have your tarot deck. I also have some other oracle decks that I will be drawing from live while we are doing the rest of your reading. So let's get into it. Here is the significator that you chose, and I'm just going to peel off the washi tape. So this is Nematona, and she represents safe space. This is from the Goddesses, Gods, and Guardians Oracle deck. I am going to list them all the decks that I use on my website. So I will put a link down below for you to access those. Order those if you like from Amazon, or if there's one that you resonate with, you can pick one up for yourself. Okay, so let's talk about Nematona. She is also known as the Lady of the Sacred Grove. She was worshipped by Germanic Celtic people in the 1st century, and her name derives from the Celtic word Nemeto, which means sacred area or sanctuary. So what she's asking you to do is to create a sanctuary for yourself and a kind of a refuge for your spirit. This has to do with making your environment as comfortable and as nurturing as possible, and that can be physically, that can also be emotionally by creating stronger boundaries. So we'll see what else comes up, but if you're feeling scattered or uprooted, she's wanting you to create spaces where you feel safe, and that can be with a therapist, that can be in your own home, that can be if you're having friends who don't feel safe, then you may need to put some boundaries around that. So let's see what else we get. So your next card, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time with my focus, but your next card is St. John's wort, and it is radiance. So this is from the Herbal Astrology Oracle. It is one of my absolute favorite decks. So we're going to look at these two, and then we're going to pull some tarot. So this actually goes really nicely with your Nematona card. St. John's wort, this card represents joy, warmth, happiness, spiritual power. It also represents protection, which I think goes really well. This is asking you to create these things in your life, to create this feeling of power and protection around yourself. So St. John's wort helps to remind you to cultivate practices that help keep you authentic and in your greater knowing. So when you're in your greater knowing, you're not feeling fearful, you're not feeling scarcity, because you're in alignment. So creating a safe space, you need to be creating an environment where you are feeling safe and empowered. And I understand that there are some things outside of your control that can affect your ability to do that. So you do have some control over your space, over your boundaries with people. So this is just asking you to create a safe space and to focus on being authentic and stepping into your power. This card, I don't know if you can see, but its planetary ruler is the sun. So this is brightness and warmth. You can see, though, that this house is on fire over here. So this is interesting. So St. John's wort is used for depression, right? And low mood. And so what I'm wondering here is if you're kind of feeling like your house is on fire. And this is asking you to open yourself to healing and to feel joy and to embrace your own radiance. Embrace the light that's within you. And that's going to make everything else easier to deal with. Okay. Let's get into some tarot cards for pile number 1. Eight of Swords. Yeah, that makes me think that you do feel like your house is burning, or like you've got something in your environment that feels really out of control and you feel trapped by it. Which is why you're wanting to why your guides are telling you that you need to create a safe space for yourself. Oh. Okay. We have the King of Cups and the Five of Cups. I'm just going to pull one more. So this looks to me like there is a man in your life. Either he's disappointed and he is feeling depressed. This is like, I wonder if you're having some kind of relationship issue with this guy. And this doesn't have to be this doesn't have to be romantic. This could be a boss, this could be a parent, it could be a friend. There isn't necessarily a lot of romantic cards going on here, but I'm wondering, with the Five of Cups, it's like there are still two cups standing here, but he's focused on what has spilt. He's focusing on what he doesn't have instead of what he does have. And this may not even be a man in your life. This may be asking you to stop being in this victim-y place, in this victim kind of energy or mentality. With the Eight of Swords, you can see she has the swords around her. She's tied up with a ribbon. And she could walk out of this circle. I mean, she could get herself out of this ribbon pretty easily and walk out of this circle of swords without hurting herself. There's plenty of room. But this is like, oh, there's nothing I can do. And it can get a little bit victim-y sometimes. And this may be asking you to come into your emotional power and your emotional strength. And if you're struggling with some depression here, focus on what's good in your life. And with the Devil here, this makes me wonder if you are feeling this depression and this, you're struggling here and you're feeling this depression and having a hard time seeing what's good. And St. John's wort is for depression, which makes me wonder if you're having some low mood. Be really careful about not using too many substances to alter yourself. Be really careful about any kind of addictions, how you're spending your time. And with the Fool's Journey with the Devil, I mean, you've just come out of temperance. You've come out of a place of maybe balance, and you're out of balance. And the next card is the Tower. So if you don't get this under control, you're headed for some upheaval and some discomfort in your life. So you have more control than you believe. And I think this is asking you to be strong and emotionally mature and to focus on the things that are good to help you come out of this low mood instead of focusing on your negative. This is like be in gratitude. Look at what you still have and try to be in gratitude, because when you shift into this place, that is when you get more and more in alignment and the universe can bring you what you need. So be careful about this. Okay, this one is from the Sacred Rebels Oracle. This is one of my absolute favorite decks. And it is, this is Defend to the End the Worthwhile. So what's interesting about this card is asking you to take an inventory of where you're spending your energy, what you're devoting yourself to, and make some decisions about whether what you have been devoting yourself to is worth your time, if it's worthwhile. So if it is, defend to the end. But if it's not, you need to let go of what is draining your energy so that you have more energy to be able to defend the stuff that is important, the stuff that is worthwhile. So this can be part of creating your safe space and making sure that you are just really spending your energy in a positive way. And, with this too, I mean, there are things that are not working and there are things that are working. And what is it that you're going to focus on? So you need to figure out if what you are focusing on is worthwhile and spend more energy on what is worthwhile. Next, we have another one of my favorite decks. Actually, I used a bunch of my favorites for this reading. But this one is the Divine Feminine Oracle. And Ananda Mayima, the Joy Permeated Mother. And it says on the card, I am my own guru. I know the self that never changes. So she represents the essence of the joy we feel when we recognize our true self. I'm not super familiar with this and I don't want to mess it up, so I'm going to just share with you from the book a little bit about this woman. Nirmali Sundari means beautiful one in Bengali. She was born in the late 19th century in what is now Bangladesh. And apparently her family questioned her mental stability from a very early age because she was in constant states of ecstatic bliss. At 13, she was married to a man who apparently later supported her in life on her path as a mystic and a saint. So that's positive. At 26, she enacted her own spiritual initiation, and the ceremony and rites were spontaneously revealed to her from within, which is why on the card it says, I'm my own guru. Her first disciple is who named her Anandamayima, which means the joy-permeated mother, because her blissful states would inspire others to remember their innate path to joy. And I like this because I think that it goes with the St. John's wort and the safe space. I think this all goes together for you. This is, despite what may be going on for you externally, you do have some ability to find joy and to get yourself out of some situations that may not be worth your while. Okay, next we have the Whispers of the Ocean Oracle, which is setting up parameters. It says, assess your relationships and determine how they're aligned with your goals. Setting boundaries requires an honest evaluation of your present relationships. Okay, so maybe this is someone you're in a relationship with. This does not look good for that relationship. And also goes together here. If it's worthwhile, defend it to the end and do everything you can. But if it's not, you really need to do an honest evaluation of whether or not this is healthy for you. And again, this may be a friend, it may be a boss or a parent. But it looks to me like part of creating your safe space, it really is going to be setting these boundaries and getting really honest with yourself about what is important to you, what does bring you joy, and what is potentially causing you harm. And having this honest evaluation with yourself without feeling like you're trapped. But I think you're going to have this really honest conversation with yourself to be able to get out of this, to be able to get out of whatever this situation is that's making you feel so trapped and depressed, potentially. Okay, next card. This is from the Secret Language of Light. This deck is also incredibly beautiful. And you got light beings. When I started this reading, what I was asking is, what message did your guides really need you to know right now? And this to me is a confirmation that your guides are here. They are in service to you. They are watching over you. And when you are more in connection with your guides, it's easier for them to help you. If you are feeling, if you are focusing on what is not going well in your life and you're feeling trapped and you're not having boundaries in your relationships, or if you're using substances to try to get through every day, it's going to be really hard for your guides to help you. What this looks like to me is your guides are asking you to create a space where you can connect with the light and be in joy and be able to come more into alignment with them so that they can help you. So this may mean even just taking 5 or 10 minutes a day to meditate. I have ADHD. Meditation is really hard for me. And something that I started doing years ago was I noticed that the only time that I really felt clear was when I was in the shower. So maybe in the shower every day, you spend some time and say, what is it that you need me to know? Or help me to feel your presence, or help me to be more connected to you. And clear your mind. Let go of some of this stress. Do it when you are not in doing any other substances, and just be in a space where you're really clear. And they will be able to start to connect with you more. So you need to create this space so that they can help you and you can feel more connected to them. So we're going to do I believe this is the Wild Woman Oracle. Let's see what the Wild Woman Oracle has to say for you. What is the message for pile number 1? What do you really need to know? Okay. Sovereignty. Ooh. Oh, these are really shiny and hard to see, but there's the Morrigan. Okay. In Old Irish, the Morrigan actually translates to Phantom Queen or the Great Queen. She reminds you that you are never going to be in a place where you don't have any challenges. So, hardships, problematic relationships, difficulties of varying degrees, that is always going to be a part of your life in some aspect. What is important is to focus on your joy, your personal power, and your autonomy. So this is asking you to come out of this place. This is asking you to come into your sovereignty, in your body, your mind, your heart. And this is saying, like, it's time for you to be in your power, to be in your integrity, to have self-respect. And that is how you are going to overcome whatever these difficulties are. This is a call for you to embrace your power. This is telling you, you have got this, you can do this. You need to believe it. This also speaks to, your inner demons, so does this, which is why it's interesting that these came out like this. But this is saying, like, you need to deal with this, whatever this addiction or whatever this is that you're doing to try to make yourself feel better, maybe is not the best idea. And when you heal the parts of yourself that believe that you can't do it, or that you aren't enough, or that you can't take care of yourself, when you heal those parts, you aren't going to need this anymore to try to feel better. Because when you really step into your power and you connect to your guidance and you create some healthy boundaries, that is how you are going to feel safe and create a safe space for yourself and get out of this depression or whatever this is. You are meant to be in joy, and you are meant to focus your energy on what is actually really important to you. Let's look at this. These are the manifestation cards by Spirit Daughter. What is it that you need to know right now? What does your guide need you to know right now about this? What else do we need to know for pile number 1? What else do we need to know? Oop. I'm going to go ahead and take this one off the top. Align with journey. Okay. I am aligned with my soul's journey. And look at this, bringing dark and light into balance. I feel like what may be happening here, your guides are trying to call you back into alignment and back into your power so that you can get back on the right path, so that you can get back to doing what you're supposed to be doing. This is asking you to create some space and really focus on getting back into alignment with yourself, with what gives you joy. And right now it feels like there are some things, maybe some beliefs, some external circumstances, maybe some individuals, some addictive behavior, some low mood. There are some things happening here that are making it really hard for you to feel like you're in your power, for you to connect with your guides, for you to feel like you are in alignment with the path that you're supposed to be on. So it's like asking you to clean house. And I mean that in the broadest sense. Maybe physically clean and get rid of a whole bunch of clutter. It is spring. But also your relationships, the relationships that aren't working for you, the whatever is not worthwhile needs to go. It needs to go so that you have access to joy. And this, I'm my own guru. Stop looking for the answers from other people. Stop asking people what you should do. You are capable of finding and hearing that answer from within yourself. So I know sometimes we get really frantic and we feel like we don't know what we're doing, and sometimes we ask people, oh, what should I do? What should I do about this? Or what do you think about so-and-so? And we collect in all of this information. But a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this, I was guilty of this for years when I was younger. A lot of times we do that because we're not trusting ourselves. You're not in your own power. You're not in your sovereignty. You're not connecting. You're not creating space to connect with your guides. You're asking all of these other people for their opinion instead of knowing that you have access to the answers, that you need to decide what's really important to you. You need to create boundaries and decide what you will and won't put up with in relationship. You need to do those things. You need to embrace your inner light. Okay? All right. We're going to do one more. I think we're already gone pretty long. So this is the Wild Mystic deck. Oh, I saw one flip. Rest. Yeah. So there's rest. I'm just going to set right here. Okay, so this is the bear, and it's associated with rest. And what I like about this is, we're coming into spring now. So this is potentially, whenever you get this reading is when it's going to be right for you. But if you're listening to it fairly soon after I post it, bears come out of hibernation in the spring. And you may not quite be ready to come out of hibernation. You may need some more rest. So part of creating your safe space is creating peace and stability and calm, where you can recover and recuperate and let your nervous system calm down. Yeah. Yeah. You feel it like all of this has just been exhausting. Yeah. All of this, it just feels like you've been exhausted and maybe not giving yourself permission to really rest. I just did a guided meditation recently about allowing rest without guilt, and I'm going to link that up in the corner. So if this is your reading, I feel like maybe you're supposed to go and listen to that meditation. So, if it resonates with you, to help you allow some rest and start creating this space, this safe space for yourself. Okay, pile number 1, that was your reading. I hope that was helpful for you. And I hope that whatever you're going through improves. And I hope that you have the encouragement to set some firm boundaries and create some quiet to connect with your guides. They're with you. They want to help you. And it's really time to step into your power. Okay. I am wishing you the best, and I hope that this resolves for you, and I hope this was helpful. And I would invite you to subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of stuff about midlife, and my passion is empowering women. And a lot of my content has to do with empowering and supporting women. So if that resonates, I hope that you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take good care of yourself. Okay, pile number 2, welcome. Let's get into your reading. I'm just going to pull the washi tape off here. And your card is actually Lion's Mane. Leadership. So, I'll put that here. Sorry, I'm having a hard time with my autofocus on my camera. And I also pulled cards for you from the Goddesses, Gods, and Guardians Oracle deck. When I did this, you got 2. The other pile, number 1, only got 1. But I wanted you to have these. So you got Leah, which is stand your ground, and Kuan Yin, which has to do with kindness and nurturing. Okay, I don't have all these memorized, so sometimes I do take a peek at the book just so that I'm sure that I'm giving you all the information that you need. Some of these are really interesting. So, Lion's Mane has to do with sacred masculine, leadership, ambition, being a provider, being strong-willed, and in your spiritual power. And has to do with determination, ambition, focus, will, presence. So it looks like this is asking you to potentially, if you have the opportunity, to step into some kind of guidance or leadership role. Like, it's time for you to take action about something. If you've been thinking about something, it's really time for you to take action and support your community. Maybe provide some leadership in your community. And the reason I say that, Leah is actually an Aboriginal Australian water goddess and a guardian of women. And the story behind this is so cool. She was looking down from the sky and noticed a group of women that were digging for roots in the dry dirt. And the men in the village had created certain rules, so the women could only leave the camp to get water. So the women were thirsty and dry and dusty, and she decided to intervene and went into the mountains and dug with her digging stick into the ground and loosed a water spring that turned into a river. And the women formed a community around her, with her as their leader. So this energy here, you have a very giving and supportive nature. So you have leadership, but it comes from a place, especially with Kuan Yin here. This is such a gentle, it's such a nice balance between gentle and compassionate and kind and strong. This can be, you may be someone who puts other people first. You may bend over backwards trying to help people. This card, I believe, comes up for people who are empaths, healers, light workers, intuitives. It's good to take care of others. It's good to provide for them, especially emotionally. With the water here is often associated with your emotions. But you have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, that you're being compassionate with yourself. Part of being a good leader is standing your ground, not just for your people or your community, but also for your own boundaries, your own needs, your own, what you need. You also need to be nurtured. You're nurturing others, but you also need to be nurtured. Okay, so let's pull some tarot for you and see what else we need to know. What does pile number 2 need to know? What do their guides need to know right now? What is the message for their highest good? Okay. Page of Cups and the Devil. That's interesting. Pile number 1 had the Devil also. What is the message for pile number 2? 9 of Pentacles. Oh. The Emperor. So with the Page of Cups, this for me is often a message, a surprising message, something that you find out that you maybe weren't expecting. It can also come up when you're starting something creative, or it can be telling you to pay attention to some synchronicities that may be coming into your life or happening recently. The Devil has to do with addictive behaviors. If we look at these little beetles, they're eating away at the vitality of this plant. So you need to be really careful about what you're doing in your life that may be eating away at your health, at your integrity, at your well-being. If you allow this to continue, if these beetles continue to eat this plant, it's going to have a really hard time. So you need to be aware of what you are doing that may be causing you damage. And this can be addictive behaviors. It can be an unhealthy relationship. It can be maybe too much time on social media. You're going to have to figure that out. Whatever it is, you need to take an inventory of what you're doing to manage your stress. If you're consuming a lot of substances, you need to be really careful. If you can get that under control, it looks like with the Nine of Pentacles, you're doing well. And with the Emperor, so watch out for this, but this looks good. This is coming into your own. This is security. You're taking care of yourself. You're in a place where everything is pretty good for you financially. So if you're not there yet, that's coming, as long as you are making sure that you are taking care of yourself and not allowing these things to sap your energy or take your energy or diminish you. So with the Emperor, this is your power. This is divine masculine, which is interesting because the lion's mane is also divine masculine. So this is, foundation, structure. This can be a father figure. This looks to me like you feel like you're in control, or you get to a place where you feel like you're more in control. This is really strong energy here. Interesting, I think this is a mountain lion, and then you have the lion here. It's really strong energy. Okay. Okay, let's go through the rest of these oracle cards that I picked out for you. This is from the Sacred Rebels Oracle. And I apologize for my camera. Every journey starts with a single step. Isn't this beautiful? Okay, so this could mean that that you have a physical trip coming up, that you're taking a physical trip somewhere. But it can also mean that you may have just stepped into, or are just about to step into, or you're trying to decide if you want to step into this leadership role. And it looks like when you do, that's going to bear fruit. That's going to put you in a good place. So if you have been wondering whether or not you should take that step, this would be a yes. Sometimes when we take a journey, we have to leave some things behind, things that we thought that we really needed, and things that maybe we thought were going to keep us safe. But sometimes to have new experiences, we have to let some old things go. Let's see what else we have. This is from the Divine Feminine Oracle. And Rita of, I believe that's Cassica, the patroness of impossible causes. It says, I am miraculous. My prayers create powerful channels of possibility. So it looks to me like you may be considering starting something and maybe feeling like it's impossible or unlikely, or you're wondering like, gosh, is this going to work out? Can I do this? And I think the answer is yes. I think it's going to be less impossible than you think. And your will has the power to get you where you want to go. Has the power to take you where you are aiming. And I just want to peek at this to make sure I'm not missing anything, because I am not familiar with Rita. Saint Rita of Cassica's life demonstrates the power of prayer to shift even what appears to be impossible. She was born in Italy in 1381 and is associated with bees, because as a child it said they swarmed her but never stung her. And bees are symbolic of Mary and the diligent work that must be done to gather honey, or the immortal sweetness of Christ's love. And apparently she wanted to enter a covenant but was forced to marry, had her first child at 12. Oh my goodness. She endured abuse and infidelity, and after the death of her husband, and her sons, so she lost her husband and both her sons. and wanted to enter the monastery of St. Mary Magdalene in Cassica, and was given the condition that her family had to reconcile with the family that killed her husband before she could gain entrance. She entered the monastery at age 36. It says that while she was meditating on Christ at age 60, a ray of light pierced her between the eyes, and the stigmata remained there until her death of tuberculosis in the monastery in 1457. So, despite popular belief, St. Rita isn't about suffering or martyrdom. It is actually about the miracles that happen when we choose to be steadfast about something or someone. That this does not mean remaining in a situation that is harmful to us. It means knowing that we can believe anything is possible and that everyone is ultimately forgivable, because forgiveness isn't about someone else, it's about freeing ourselves. With this card, what she's saying here is you may have to draw some pretty fierce boundaries. And if there is someone that you need to leave behind and never see again, that can come up when this card comes up. But it's asking you to never give up on what you want for yourself. And that whatever it is that you are trying to do right now, you have the leadership ability and you need to stand your ground. But you can do this from a place of calm and strength. And what happened to her, that's a crazy story. I have never pulled this card before. The question it's asking you is, what do you believe is possible for your life? What do you believe is possible? What can you create? Because it's time to get started. It's time to take that step. It's time to go. Okay, let's see what else you got. Okay, let's do this one. This one is from the Whispers of the Ocean Oracle. And you got adrift in shallow water. Little turtle. It says, take a few deep breaths and reconnect to your inner peace. Notice the small things and appreciate them. Adrift in shallow water. This is a period of soul searching and a desire for new direction, which is maybe what this is about too. And it's like you're trying to figure out which direction you want to go. And you may have been taking some time alone to try to figure that out. I think turtles, they go out in the deep ocean and they journey, but when they come back to shallow waters to rest. Like that's where they rest. And they just kind of float because it's safer for them here. That's interesting. I want to see a couple more cards and maybe we'll come back to that one. With the turtle, I do feel like I should say they have to do with moving slowly, right? And here, every journey starts with a single step. Take some time to rest, or don't feel like you have to. You can do things like one step at a time. This isn't saying that you have to make a decision and then, off to the races. But if you create some space to figure out and really ask the universe for what you want, because it's coming. You definitely have the capability to be self-sufficient and taking care of yourself and in your power. It's so interesting, the masculine energy here. You may need to really access your masculine to create, to take this journey, to take this step. So, okay. I normally, in the other piles, I only pulled one of these, but something told me to pick two. So this is the Secret Language of Light. And the first one I pulled was Let Your Light Shine. Aren't these cards beautiful? And Nourish. With Let Your Light Shine, this is encouraging you to really be authentic and be yourself and embrace the parts of you that might feel a little weird. Or so sometimes when we get stuck in like being worried about our weirdness, we actually resist being our whole selves or being seen. And we can all feel like a little bit like weirdos. I know that I do. And maybe like there's this desire to want to fit in and be like everyone else. But that's not what you're supposed to be doing. So it's saying, let your light shine, let your soul shine. Embrace your truth and figure out what you're aligned with. Maybe that's what you need to start this journey, this change. Or maybe to fully be in your leadership. Whatever this leadership role is. Be fully who you are. And relax about what other people think of you. And just relax into that. It's going to be nourishing. This is a way that you can nourish yourself. Like, stop having judgment about your body. Stop having, worrying so much about what other people are thinking. You are worthy just as you are. And Earth, we're here, and there's a lot of hard things. But there are a lot of ways it's also like a playground. So it's for you to let your light shine and nourish others. And by being authentic, you're nourishing yourself as well. And I like this with the let your light shine and the stand your ground. This is who I am. And I can say that from a place of compassion for myself and compassion for you. If you can't get down with my authentic self, I have compassion for that. That's what you get to think, but I'm going to be who I am. I'm going to pull some extra oracle cards. So this one is the Wild Woman Oracle. I know this reading is kind of long, but I just want to really make sure that you're getting all the information that your guides want you to have. Peace of the Goddess, inner peace. I'll show it to you. Inner peace. It's got a nice little space there. This makes me think of the adrift in shallow water. Because it's like she is cozy. She's got like a little ferret in her lap, and she's got a little book she's writing. She's got hot tea and a little snack. She's got books. She looks cozy. She's like finding her own peace here. And with the adrift in shallow water, this is also like enjoy the environment that you're in. Enjoy what you can about where you are. And take a few deep breaths and reconnect to your inner peace. And then you have inner peace here. So there you go. So get this out of the way. There may be some things that are blocking you from your peace, and that may be behaviors or beliefs that are blocking you from abundance, from power, from your own power. And maybe to find your inner peace, you're going to have to stand your ground and be in your masculine. Just be in your power. And not that the feminine doesn't have power, it does. It's just a different type of energy. So these are the manifestation cards. Let's see what you get. Let's see. What's the message for pile number 2? What is the message for pile number 2? Embrace freedom. That's interesting. I am free to create my own reality. Yeah, you are. This makes me feel like you're walking, maybe not, if this doesn't resonate, don't get hung up on it, but this is like with her crazy story And with this, with the suitcase, with her having her own cozy space and freedom, and standing your ground, this really makes me wonder if you need to create some more freedom in your life. I am free to create my own reality. You are powerful. You are powerful, and it looks like you can create the resources to be able to thrive on your own. The original Rider-Waite for the Nine of Pentacles is a woman in a garden. She is taking care of herself, and she's self-sufficient. Interesting. Okay. Last one. This is the Wild Mystic deck. We're going to see what comes up for you for pile number 2. One more message for pile number 2. One more message for pile number 2. What do they need? What do they need to know? What's the last message you need to tell them? What's the last message for pile number 2? Defend. Whoa, Scorpio. I don't know if you've got Scorpio in your chart. I'll bring this up so you can see it. Defend. You can see Scorpio sign there. This card represents defense and resistance. In Egypt, the scorpion was seen as a guardian and protector of the souls of the dead as they made their way from this life. In ancient Greece, Scorpios was a giant scorpion who defended the animals of the world from destruction at the hands of the giant Orion. Despite their intimidating appearance and weapon-like stinger, the scorpion rarely attacks unless they are first threatened. In fact, they posture, produce sound, and even squirt warning shots of venom to try to ward off predators before they attack. This is the ability to fight back if necessary. And sometimes words and posturing aren't enough. Sometimes you have to take action to protect yourself. This is knowing when to draw your sword, so to speak. To create inner peace and let your light shine, you may have to stand your ground, and you may have to take defensive action. You may have to demand that your needs are honored. Well, pile number 2, I hope that that was helpful for you and gave you some information that you needed. That's what came up for what your guides needed you to know right now. So I hope that that was helpful. You're welcome to look at the other readings as well. I really appreciate you being here. I have a lot of other content on my channel for empowering women, and I hope that you will subscribe so that I can see you again and that you find your power here and let your light shine. Take care. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, pile number 3. This is your significator card. It comes from the Sacred Rebels Oracle. I'm just going to take the washi tape off here so that we can see the message from the card. Okay, I'll bring this up so you can see. Relax the hold of darkness and be at cause. I don't know if you can see her. She's got this light all spinning around her. Isn't that pretty? This deck is so gorgeous. Okay, so we're going to start there. Okay, we're going to start there. And I also pulled a Gods, Goddesses, and Guardians oracle card because we're asking for what your guides most need you to know. And you got the Mermaid of Lemuria, and she is all about joy. Okay, so we're going to read those two together. My autofocus is not working today. There we go. So we're going to read these two together. Relax the hold of darkness and be at cause. I don't always read out of the book, but I feel like I should, at least for just a little bit for this one for you. Dear Sacred Rebel, this moment in your life requires great courage. Fortunately, you possess that in bucket loads. You are being asked to allow yourself to be lifted out of one level of known reality and into the next level of higher voltage reality. Higher voltage reality requires a more absolute trust and a heart that is surrendered into the greater heart of the universe, so that life can happen to us, through us, and with us more quickly, more radically, more beautiful, and more beautifully and more boldly. You are being invited into this new reality where things happen quickly and according to bold, loving optimism. Oh, I got chills. This is a reality not only of potential, but of manifestation of the great big cosmic yes. You may have to leap from known waters, and others may think you're crazy for doing so, but you have to leave behind the dark, weighty grip of hesitation, procrastination, second guessing, and the belief that you have to do everything on your own. This is like letting go of fear and procrastination and worry. It says life is wild, but also wise. This is like a raw awakening for you. Shift gears, jump on board the express train of life that will feel exhilarating and challenging. When you're in the hold of darkness, you will feel pushed to turn away, to imagine as all too much, and to create excuses about how your desires aren't grounded enough, that you're being too flighty or flaky, or that you're not living in the real world. This is fear talking, not truth. If the sacred rebel is not awakened, we will continue to live in a culture drenched in fear and distrust of nature. Those without awakened hearts don't yet understand what nature knows. She knows timing, she knows life and death, she knows the creative process. She just knows, and can be trusted to support us, her own creations, in becoming all that we can become. I love that energy. I love that energy, and I love that the other card you got to support that is joy. Oh, the energy in this pile is really nice. The last one was a little bit heavier, but this is really nice. And this card, the Mermaid of Lemuria, says drop the worry habit, embrace lightheartedness. Look who's splashed into your life today with a playful flick of her shimmering tail. I see how much time and energy you spend worrying about the future. You're trying to control and plan everything out of fear. This approach is outworn and dulls your radiance. I'm here to clear you of anxious patterns that sap your life force and cloud your spiritual vision. When was the last time you played and have fun? Joy is your birthright and opens up creative solutions. Oh, I love this. This is like, this energy is so nice. Like, let go and be in joy and find what makes you feel alive. Ooh, let's pull some cards. Whoa. Let's pull some cards for some tarot cards for pile number 3. Whew. Man, what a huge energy shift that was. The Star. Yeah, this is like, uh-oh, the Tower. What else? Oop, the Emperor. I'm going to stop there. So what this is saying to me is that you, man, what this is saying to me is I know that stuff may feel crazy right now. There is a lot that is there's a lot of chaos right now. But you can still hold hope through this chaos and come out on top, in control. You have more power than you think you have. Wow, there is a lot of energy supporting you right now. Wow. Okay, I want to look at the Divine Feminine Oracle for you. Oh, yeah. Khadija, I hope I said that right. The mother of believers. Put her up here. And she says, I am spiritually and financially abundant. I provide heaven and earth for myself. So this woman, and I want to make sure that I'm giving you her story. So she was a widow in Saudi Arabia in the 6th century and became a very wealthy merchant who was deeply respected. She used her wealth to feed the poor and provide for her children from her first 2 marriages and took care of her extended family. She had a dream about hiring a young merchant named Muhammad to work for her, and in the dream the sun descended into her courtyard, fully illuminating her home. And her cousin told her that meant that the prophet would soon grace her doorstep. She realized her new employee Muhammad was the prophet and asked him to marry her, and they were married for 25 years. She is one of the most important female figures in Islam, followed by her daughter, Fatima. It is said that when Muhammad told Khadija about his first revelation from the angel Gabriel in the cave of Hira, I hope I'm saying these right. If I'm not, please let me know in the comments. She was the first person to convert to Islam. She was his confidant and partner. This is interesting. So with this card, this is coming up against the belief that in order for us to be spiritual or to be good, that we have to renounce the material world. With this card, it's reminding you that it's more important to have a healthy relationship to the material world. This is also about creating relationships from a place of interdependence instead of codependence, and being able to be in relationship while still having personal freedom. Like it's interesting, in the pile number 1 talked about sovereignty, and she always makes me think of sovereignty. It's about making choices for our life based on our truth, not just on survival. And she also challenges the idea about when true love will find you and how. Like, no one had to save her. She didn't have to be saved, supported, or provided for by her life partner. She actually provided for the prophet. But they took care of each other. This is a reminder that living in your power and purpose doesn't make you less eligible. So if you're looking for a partner, there's no linear timetable about when that person is going to show up. It doesn't mean they're not going to show up. It's just a reminder that you are worthy of both financial abundance and love while you're waiting for that person. Her question, or the question of this card, is, do I feel worthy of abundance? Okay, next, I want to pull the Whispers of the Ocean Oracle card. Diving to new depths. There is a deeper meaning to what is happening. You might be looking at it from the surface and missing what is really going on. Take a moment to pause and breathe. Allow yourself to dive deeper into what you're feeling about your current situation. If you have been feeling like you have been in the darkness, that's what this feels like to me. There is a deeper meaning to what has been happening. And if you think about, I'm just thinking about when these whales dive down, how they're going into the deep and the dark and the stillness. So maybe this is a call for you to meditate on what's happening for you right now and how you can get into joy and hope, how you can get back into joy and hope and into receiving all the abundance that your guides are trying to bring to you. It's just asking you to take a different perspective and just try looking at a situation from a few different perspectives or angles. Okay. This last one, before we get into these guys, is the secret language of light. Also a beautiful deck. I love the back on these. And you got joy, which cracks me up because you got joy here. You got joy here as well. So the universe, I think, is telling you pretty strongly that you need to find your joy and to be in joy and to figure out what is holding you back from being in joy, because joy is your natural state. It says, if a thought does not give you joy, search for one that does. Thank that thought for showing you where you didn't feel joyful and reach for a pleasing thought. You can empower yourself by choosing joyful thoughts. You will disempower yourself by choosing sad thoughts. What will you choose today? And I realize that is sometimes like easier said than done, but I think it takes practice. I think it's asking you to practice reaching for the joyful moments, taking joy even in the little moments throughout your day, maybe with, sitting with your cat in the sunshine, or talking with a friend, or having like the best warm cup of tea, reading a great book, or creating art. There are so many ways that we can find joy. Sitting outside and letting the sun hit your face. There are so many ways that we can look for joy. And I think that when things are crazy and we are noticing darkness, we tend to keep noticing more darkness. And I feel like what this is saying is that you have an opportunity to look for joy. And the more you look for joy, the more you're going to find it. And maybe that's why you need to shift your perspective a little bit. I think that might be what this is saying, is to shift your perspective and look for joy, even in small ways. And I am one of those people, I don't believe that you're supposed to be happy all the time. That would make it boring and not special. I really believe that the best thing we can reach for is contentment as a baseline. And then there are going to be periods of joy and struggle, on either end of that are kind of a natural part of our lives. But the more that you can look for joy, the more that you are going to find it. Okay, let's get into your other oracle cards. So this deck is the Herbal Astrology deck. This is rapidly becoming one of my favorites. I actually really like a lot of the decks that I'm using today. I collect decks, and so I do use them quite a bit, and I feel like we kind of become friends. So let's see, pile number 3. What is the message for pile number 3? What is the message for pile number 3? What do they need to know? What does pile number 3 need to know from their guides? What does pile number 3 need to know from their guides? What does their guide want to tell them, right? Make sure they know right now. Don't be shy. Okay. Wisdom. You got, aren't these so pretty? Looks like you've got Saturn and maybe Venus up at the top there. The Elder, Wisdom. They're so pretty. These cards are so gorgeous. I'm going to put this down here. And I do like to look at the book because I want to make sure I'm not missing something for you, and also because although I work with these decks a lot, I certainly don't pull every card for myself with enough regularity to memorize them all. Ooh, so Elder, Sambucus nigra is the plant name, and it represents rising from the underworld, release, letting go, major transformation, higher wisdom, new perceptions, and awakening to truth. Also known as the Queen of the Fairies or the Queen of the Underworld. Elder is steeped in folklore and legend across many cultures. This tree is a symbol of sorrow, death, and deep magic. In Scandinavia, the tree is inhabited by a spirit called the Elder Mother, who will punish you if you touch the tree or chop it down without properly thanking her. In the Bible, the cross on which Jesus was crucified was said to be made from the wood of a giant elder tree. And apparently, a remorseful Judas hung himself from an old elder tree. In the Middle Ages, it was used as protection against evil spirits and underworldly entities. And in Celtic tradition, it's associated with Samhain, a time of year to honor death, new beginnings, and transformation. It's been used since ancient times as a blood cleanser, an antiviral, and anti-inflammatory, and can help recover from cold and flu. So this must be like, these are elderberries. So this signals the end of a phase in your life or the beginning of a major cycle, and reminds you that the symbolic death that visits us as we progress through our physical and metaphysical growth, it's like a reminder to allow yourself to go through that decomposition, and that new life is coming, almost like a phoenix, right? That your new life is coming, and for that new life to emerge, the old one needs to be allowed to die. And we do better when we don't resist it, but it's also a guardian. Elder is a guardian that helps us step through that doorway. And you may feel like you're in darkness. Like this really relates back to relax the hold of darkness. This is that darkness. And when you're in this darkness, more than ever, you need to be able to see your hope and joy. And know that this looks to me like you are taking care of yourself, or have the capability to take care of yourself. You're doing okay. It looks like you're doing okay here. And you may be going through maybe some kind of a dark night of the soul, but you are protected as you go through this cycle. And I think maybe what this is telling you is that also, this looks to me like you're coming to the end of this, and this joy is what's coming for you. You may have one more kind of big upheaval, but then you're really coming into your sovereignty and your control here. Okay, let's do the Wild Woman Oracle for pile number 3. Who wants to come up for pile number 3? What message the guides have for pile number 3? Oh, this one tried to come up. protection, the Fairy Queen. Oop, I got some glare on there. Hopefully you can see that. She's got a swan there. I think it's funny that it has protection and a swan, because we think of swans as like gentle creatures, right? But I don't know if you've ever pissed one off before or gone near one's babies, but they are absolutely fierce. So I just think it's interesting that it has the swan on there for protection. I do want to take a peek and see what else we need to know. And it doesn't say how to pronounce her name, and I don't want to butcher it. But the question for this card is my mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual well-being being threatened or violated by another? And if so, what boundaries can I put in place to protect myself? You can call upon her for protection if you feel your personal sovereignty and safety is being physically, mentally, or emotionally, or spiritually threatened. This Fairy Queen empathetically reminds you that even if you have been violated in some way, your honor can never be taken from you as it is inherent. So you have your sovereignty, even if you've been through something difficult recently. In this dark night, something must have happened. But, you know, what do your guides need you to know? Your guides need you to know that you're protected. That you're protected, and it's time to reach for joy. You're going to be okay. This goddess is a Celtic goddess, and she rules over summer, love, protection, fertility, sovereignty, healing, and the sun. This is so interesting. Sovereignty has come up in all three readings, in all three piles. This idea of sovereignty, of owning your power, and not being in this place, this powerless place. So maybe you need to embrace your inner swan and be fierce but beautiful. All right, let's look at the manifestation cards. We just have a couple more. What is the message? Whoa, what is the message for pile number 3? What is the message? Ooh, recognize strength. I am rooted in my strength. Let's see, let's put this, put that there. I am rooted in my strength. Yeah. Again, like, you are strong and protected, and you have power. You have more power and strength, I think, than you're giving yourself credit for right now. You have more ability to take care of yourself, more strength. And I feel like it's like your natural state is to have more access to hope and to joy and optimism. And you just have been going through something really dark. But this is a cycle. It doesn't last forever. Relax the hold of darkness. You're protected. Like, what this says to me is, like, it's safe for you. Like, even though you're feeling rough going through this journey, this transformation, you're protected as you go through this, and you are incredibly strong. Yeah. You are so strong. Okay. We do one more from the Wild Mystic deck. And I am going to link below a page on my website where I'm going to list all of the all of these decks if they're available. If I can find a link for them. Some of these I've had for a long time, but if I can find a link for some of these decks, I will put it on a page for you guys, because I hate it when I watch somebody pull cards and they either don't say what the deck is or where to find it. So I'm just going to try and make that easy, because I want you to have access to your intuition and your guides if these are tools that help you. So that will be in the description. Okay. Who wants to come up? What's the message? Last message for pile number 3. Let's take... Nice. You got inspire with this little birdie. There's a crown here. That makes me think of sovereignty too, the crown. Okay. This card is the wren and represents inspiration, dreams. In Welsh, they are called a word that translates to druid. It's a songbird beginning its mating call in early spring and is seen to symbolize the end of winter, which, if you're watching this shortly after I published it, is pretty amazing timing. This card encourages you to listen to the natural world and its inhabitants and take inspiration from their teaching. It's a card of communication, natural, spiritual, and divine inspiration. Listen and be receptive to the truth of others. This can also have to do with music. So you may be hearing some songs that have messages for you, to pay attention to those synchronicities. What this feels like to me is that for you to come out, as you come out of this and as you're finding your joy and being at cause, look for inspiration. Remember how strong you are and how much goodness. This is the same thing. This is looking for the goodness, looking for things that inspire you, looking for things that lift you up, connecting with nature, doing things that make you feel good, that make you want to be here. And you are protected in doing that. Your power is if it's not already online, it's coming. This goes back to being in joy, and it's time to stop focusing on darkness. It's time to stop focusing. We are all always going to have some level of discomfort or chaos, whether in our inner or outer world, and some of it we can control and some of it we cannot control. And I feel like this is asking you to control what you can control. Look for things that inspire you. Remember how strong you are. Remember, your guides want you to know you are protected, and there is reason for joy. There is reason for you to have hope. Things may feel crazy right now, but you are going to get to a place where you feel that structure again, where you feel like everything is, you know what you want to do and you're taking care of yourself. You're going to get to that place if you haven't quite gotten there yet. And this also is a reminder that we're coming out of winter, and the days are going to get longer and brighter, and it is not always going to feel this dark. And I mean that in more than one way. So, pile number 3, I hope that this was insightful and helpful for you, and that you are able to let yourself come out of this transformation and darkness or this chaos that you may be focusing on, and find your joy and your inspiration again. You have got everything you need to do that, to find your joy, and you're protected. So I hope that this was helpful. My content is really focused on empowering women. If this felt empowering for you or insightful for you, I would encourage you to give me a follow. I would encourage you to subscribe so that we can stay connected and I can share my guided meditations and some of my other great content. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I hope this was helpful. And please take good care of yourself. I'll see you in the next video.